What rules does every Hell's Angel have to follow? Delving into the secretive world of the Hell's Angels Motorcycle Club, we uncover the strict code of conduct that governs their actions and defines their brotherhood. From the initiation process to their approach toward drugs, loyalty, and secrecy, let's explore the rules every Hell's Angel has to follow. Number 10. Only wear official Hell's Angels merchandise. If you stumble across some Hell's Angels attire that you believe would be a chic addition to your wardrobe and you want to start wearing it about town, you should give it a lot of thought before you do so. Members of Hell's Angels do not look kindly on non-members who wear their sacred vests, and vice versa. They do not give members much thought if they wear cheap knockoffs of official gear rather than purchasing it themselves. Even though it is Halloween, you should think carefully before dressing up as a Hell's Angel if you are not a member of the organization. They are not bashful about meting out revenge. Number 9. Do not discuss absent friends. What goes down at Hell's Angels get-togethers remains at Hell's Angels get-togethers, as should go without saying. Share at your own risk any juicy tidbit of information you may gather up about another group member, no matter how tempting it may sound. The Hell's Angels take their collective vow of silence so seriously that they refuse to discuss members who have vanished for fear of breaking the pledge. If someone suddenly stops showing up to meets, you should not mention it to anybody else because you never know who might be listening in on the conversation. Number 8. If one member gets pulled over, all members pull over. The Hell's Angels Motorcycle Club follows the principle of one for all for one, which is reminiscent of the Musketeers' motto. This core value emphasizes the importance of unity and mutual support among all members. Regardless of their personal preferences, the Hell's Angels are obliged to comply with the laws of the land. This means that if they are caught driving or behaving in a manner that violates the law, they are subject to the same legal consequences as any other individual. If observed breaking the law, they have an equal chance of being pulled over by law enforcement, just like anyone else. However, the relationship between the Hell's Angels and some law enforcement officers can be tense. When one member is stopped by the police, it often leads to the entire group being stopped as well. In such situations, police officers may feel intimidated by the united front presented by a group of Hell's Angels. Though the intention behind their unwavering stares may be to show solidarity with their fellow member, it could be misinterpreted by some officers as insinuation or menace. Number 7. Do not do drugs. Let us be honest here. The Hell's Angels do not exactly have a sterling reputation for moral rectitude. Throughout the entirety of their existence, they have caused problems for their company. Surprisingly, however, the distribution of illegal narcotics is not one of their primary lines of business. The Hell's Angels maintain a policy of zero tolerance when it comes to the use of illegal substances, in contrast to other motorcycle gangs that have been closely identified with the drug trade to the same extent as they are associated with bikes. It is extremely banned for members to use or sell them, and if they are detected doing either of these things, they will have their membership terminated immediately. Number 6. Never snitch on a brother. Although it may be difficult to believe, not all Hell's Angels are excellent examples of how to live one's life. According to urban legends, certain individuals have been implicated in a wide variety of deviant behaviors, the likes of which, as you may have guessed, have the potential to land them in legal hot water on occasion. When that time comes, the other members of the Brotherhood are required to keep their mouths shut about what happened. Anyone in the Hell's Angels fraternity who divulges embarrassing information about another member or the charter can anticipate receiving prompt and severe punishment. Number 5. Don't link to the website. Anyone, members or non-members alike, who links to the site without the club's prior written agreement is subject to the disapproval of the club. If someone links to the website without obtaining the club's permission, they may face disapproval from the club. This means that the Hell's Angels Motorcycle Club will not be happy with such actions, and it might result in negative consequences for the individual who linked to the site without authorization. Even if someone is granted permission to link to the website once, they should not assume that they have a permanent allowance to do so. The club has the right to revoke permission at any time they choose. In other words, the club can change its mind about allowing someone to link to their website, and the permission can be taken away without warning. Failure to adhere to this rule may lead to disapproval from the club, and even if permission is initially granted, it can be revoked at any time. Number 4. Refrain from communicating with the media. There is a very excellent reason why the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club is such a secretive organization. Its members make it a point to keep it that way. They do this intentionally. They are famously secretive, and they refuse to divulge any information about what goes on within the club to anyone who is not a member. They avoid speaking with the media as much as possible, mostly because they want to preserve their reputation and look out for the interests of their members. Number 3. Members always ride in formation. You might not know it from the amount of time that most Hells Angels spend on their motorcycles, but the majority of them have regular lives, regular houses, and regular employment. However, while some individuals prefer to ride alone, Angels prefer to ride in a group setting. They are quite careful about the formation in which they ride, just as they are about the clothing they wear and the rules that they follow. At the forefront of each procession, leading with fearlessness, is the chapter's commander, guiding the pack with a sense of authority and responsibility. The vice president will be up next, then the road captain, and finally the sergeant-at-arms will take their places. After that, it devolves into a disorderly free-for-all, with the remaining members all vying for status in the hierarchy of the group. Number 2. Members can't be cops. Even though it seems unlikely that many police officers would be willing to put their careers in danger by joining the Hells Angels, we will just go ahead and let you know, in case there are any who are considering it, that they can't. One of the things that a Hells Angels charter will not tolerate at all is wearing a police uniform. This is one of the things on the list. The security staff at the prison can likewise forget about it. Even if you never made it to the point where you were a full-fledged officer, the fact that you took any steps toward that goal eliminates any possibility of you ever joining the club. Molestation of children and sexual assault of minors are both prohibited, albeit for quite different reasons. Number 1. Once you're in for life. Once you become a member of the Hells Angels, you may forget about ever quitting or retiring, according to Thichive.com. One of the reasons why the process of entering the club is so rigorous is that the club wants to ensure that all of its members are fully dedicated to the point where they will not want to leave the organization in a few years' time. The only way for a member to leave the club is by breaking the rules. However, doing so would result in severe repercussions, likely creating a dangerous and undesirable situation for the individual involved. The statement implies that breaking the rules may lead to harm, expulsion, or other negative consequences. Given the seriousness of the potential fallout, the advice given is to accept one's membership in the Hells Angels and plan to remain a member for the rest of one's life. The message conveyed is that trying to leave the club without breaking the rules is a difficult, if not impossible, task, and it is wiser to embrace the club's identity and commitment for the long term, rather than risking the potential dangers of trying to exit the organization. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.